The Atom Watchers. Incursions over nuclear facilities. March 24, 1967. 03:42 hours. Montana, Malmstrom Air Force Base. External temperature -4 degrees Celsius. Wind speed 12 kilometers per hour. Humidity 68%. This night, the security patrol team stationed at Oscar Launch Facility observed, during routine inspections, an object hovering in a stationary position 80 meters above the facility's northeastern perimeter wall, estimated diameter 9 meters, emitting pulsating red-orange light. The object's radar cross-section was recorded at approximately 1.2 square meters. Simultaneously, 10 missiles from the Echo and Oscar groups of the facility's underground Minuteman, 3 intercontinental ballistic missile silos, automatically switched to no-go status without any technical malfunction. Security records indicate that the facility's emergency protocols were activated during this event, though the object displayed no hostile actions. At 4:17 hours, the object rapidly ascended vertically without producing any sound and disappeared from radar. In Project Blue Book archives, this case was classified under the unknown category and remained classified until 1994. That same night, a similar observation was reported at Warren Air Force Base, 240 kilometers to the south. However, no missile system malfunctions were recorded in this second incident. Technical inspection reports show that the missiles remained offline for exactly 4 hours and 23 minutes and required manual intervention for reactivation. Air Force Office of Scientific Intelligence teams dispatched to the area immediately after the incident detected unusual electromagnetic radiation levels around the missile silos. However, the source of these readings could not be determined. Although the official statement attributed the missile system's failure to electrical malfunction, no evidence pointing to such a malfunction was found in the technical documentation. This incident represents one of the rare cases in U.S. nuclear deterrence history where multiple missile systems were simultaneously disabled by an external factor and is filed in Pentagon archives under the heading Unexplained Aerial Phenomenon, Nuclear Facility Incursion. Testimony transcripts from Captain Robert Salas, who was on duty that night, appear in documents declassified in 2008. Salas recorded that while stationed in the underground control capsule, he received an emergency call from surface security personnel, with the officer in a state of panic describing a bright red object tracking the facility. The exact time of the phone conversation is documented as 3:44 hours. 2 minutes later, all alarm lights on the control panel illuminated simultaneously, and the missile status indicators showed not a gradual failure process, but a simultaneous system loss. Considering that each missile has its own independent power source, backup systems, and automatic recovery protocols, this type of simultaneous shutdown was characterized as inexplicable within the framework of existing technical knowledge. Salas's report also recorded the internal environmental conditions of the control capsule: temperature 21 degrees, pressure normal, ventilation systems operational. No physical environmental factor could explain this sudden change in the system. March 16, 1967. Same Malmstrom Air Force Base, Echo Launch Facility. 8:30 hours. Daylight conditions. Barometric pressure, 1,013 hectopascals. Visibility, 18 kilometers. Cloud cover, 15%. This morning, Facility Commander Lieutenant Fred Meyerwald and his assistant were preparing for routine shift change in the underground control center. At exactly 8:31 hours, a disc-shaped object with a metallic appearance, estimated altitude 150 meters, was observed above the facility. The object remained motionless directly above the facility for approximately 30 seconds. During this period, all missiles in the Echo Group exited strategic ready alert status without any warning. A total of 8 Minuteman missiles lost operational capacity. This event was recorded in Malmstrom history as the first large-scale missile interruption. Technical inspection teams descended separately into each missile silo and conducted comprehensive tests. Reports indicate that no physical damage or component failure was detected in the guidance and control systems, power sources, or communication lines. Restoring the missiles to operational status took exactly 24 hours, and during this period, the United States' strategic deterrence capacity was significantly reduced. October 30th, 1975. 22:15 hours. North Dakota, Minot Air Force Base. Air temperature -7 degrees. Wind direction northwest. Speed 24 kilometers per hour. Heavy snowfall. This night, the base's perimeter security radars detected a target approaching rapidly from uncontrolled airspace toward base boundaries. The target's radar signature was incompatible with any known military or civilian aircraft. The radar recorded speed at approximately 3,200 kilometers per hour and altitude at 600 meters. At 22:18 hours, the object stopped directly above the base's nuclear weapons storage area. Security cameras recorded an object hovering 40 meters above the storage building's roof, approximately 15 meters in diameter, emitting bluish-white light. During this period, all alarm systems in the storage building activated, though no unauthorized entry or physical contact was detected. In the emergency notification to NORAD, it was asked whether the object was an unidentifiable aircraft and whether military intervention was required. NORAD ordered the scrambling of the nearest F-106 Delta Dart fighters to the area. The aircraft reached the area 11 minutes after takeoff from the base, but before visual contact could be established, the object ascended rapidly vertically and disappeared from radar. The final radar recording showed the object reaching an altitude of 12,000 meters within seconds. Post-incident inspection detected no physical traces, radiation increases, or electromagnetic anomalies on or around the storage building's roof. However, security records indicate that the storage building's electronic lock systems remained unresponsive for 4 minutes and 17 seconds during the incident, with manual locking mechanisms engaged during this period. November 7th, 1975, 01:05 hours. Again, Minot Air Force Base. This night, 2 security personnel patrolling the base's northern perimeter line reported an orange-colored light moving at low altitude without sound. The light was moving slowly along the fence line, 50 meters outside the perimeter fence. When personnel attempted to approach the light, it suddenly ascended and disappeared from view. At the same moment, a temporary signal loss occurred in the camera systems monitoring the base's nuclear weapons storage area. The cameras displayed dark screens for 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and no visual recording of the storage area could be obtained during this period. When the signal returned, the cameras resumed normal operation and no technical malfunction was detected. This incident attracted FBI attention, and the Bureau dispatched a team to investigate whether the incident was potential sabotage or enemy intelligence activity. FBI reports were declassified in 1996, and the report states that the incident could not be linked to any known enemy activity, but contained anomalous observations requiring explanation. September 18th, 1976, 00:30 hours, Iran, Tehran, Mehrabad Air Base vicinity, air temperature 19 degrees, calm winds, clear skies. This night, an object emitting bright, multicolored lights was observed by local residents and base personnel in Tehran skies. Base radar detected a large target stationary in Tehran's northwest, 110 kilometers from the city center. Iranian Air Force Command decided to dispatch an F-4 Phantom fighter aircraft to investigate the situation. The aircraft took off at 1:10 hours. When the pilot approached within 46 kilometers of the target, all communication and navigation systems on the aircraft suddenly went offline. The pilot was forced to return to base. Upon entering base boundaries, systems resumed normal operation. A second F-4 took off at 1:40 hours. This aircraft's pilot observed a smaller object separating from the main object while approaching. This small object rapidly approached the aircraft. The pilot locked onto the object with radar and wanted to assume a defensive position, but weapon systems and all electronic equipment became unresponsive at that moment. The pilot managed to evade the object with a sudden maneuver. The small object did not pursue the aircraft and returned to the main object. All phases of this incident were documented by base radar and the aircraft's flight recorders. The American Defense Intelligence Agency requested a report from the Iranian government shortly after the incident, and the event was classified in DIA archives under the category High Reliability, Unexplained Observation. A copy of the report was submitted to the US Congress in 1978 and declassified in 1981. August 24, 1966, 0450 hours, South Dakota, Ellsworth Air Force Base, air temperature 12 degrees, light winds, clear skies. In the early hours of this morning, the base's security patrol saw an oval-shaped object sitting on the ground outside base boundaries, emitting white lights. The object's estimated length was reported as 12 meters, height 3 meters. The patrol team began moving their vehicle forward to approach the object. But when they came within 200 meters, the patrol vehicle's engine stopped and all electrical systems cut out. At the same time, the personnel's radio devices also stopped functioning. The object remained motionless for approximately 3 minutes, then silently ascended and rapidly moved away westward. When the object disappeared from view, the patrol vehicle's engine and electrical systems resumed operation without any intervention. Personnel immediately reported the incident to base command. At first light, an investigation team was sent to the area where the object was observed. The team discovered that in a circular area approximately 4.5 meters in diameter on the ground, the grass was burned and turned brown. Soil samples were collected and sent for laboratory analysis. Analysis reports detected above normal magnesium oxide concentrations in the soil and mineralogical changes indicating exposure to high temperatures. These findings were added to Project Blue Book files, and the case was closed as Unexplained. December 12, 1980, 02:47 hours. England, Suffolk, Rendlesham Forest. Near Woodbridge RAF base. Air temperature 2 degrees. Dense fog. No wind. This night, base security personnel observed unusual lights in the forest. The initial report came from the security booth at the base's east gate. Personnel sent an investigation team into the forest, thinking the lights might be from an aircraft crash. 3 security personnel, advancing toward the light, saw an object among the trees, triangular in shape, metallic in appearance, approximately 3 meters wide and 2 meters high. Colored lights were blinking on the object's surface. When personnel attempted to approach, the object slowly moved through the trees and left the field of vision. The following morning, an examination was conducted in the area where the object was observed. 3 indentation marks were detected on the ground. Each mark was approximately 7 centimeters deep and positioned in a triangular formation, 2.7 meters apart from each other. Radiation measurements showed a slight increase in beta and gamma radiation around the indentation marks. Additionally, branch breaks and fresh scraping marks were recorded on nearby trees. The incident recurred on December 27, 1980. At 23:05 hours, lights were observed again in the same area, and this time a larger security team was sent into the forest. Base Commander Colonel Charles Holt also joined the team. Holt documented the incident with an audio recording device. In the recording, Holt can be heard describing the lights, reporting radiation measurements, and tracking the object's movements. Holt's official report was submitted to the UK Ministry of Defence in 1981, and the report was released to the public in 2001. The report states that the incident was directly observed by security personnel, left physical traces, and was supported by radar records. January 21st, 1951, 20:00 hours. Tennessee, Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Air temperature 1 degree, light snowfall, wind from northwest at 16 kilometers per hour. This evening, laboratory security personnel and nearby airport control tower reported a bright object flying at low altitude above the laboratory. The object circled the laboratory perimeter for approximately 15 minutes. Oak Ridge was a facility of critical importance for United States nuclear weapons production at that time. The incident was immediately reported to the FBI and the Atomic Energy Commission. FBI records show that a total of 9 similar observations were made in the Oak Ridge vicinity during the first 6 months of 1951. Each observation occurred during nighttime hours, at low altitude, and near laboratory facilities. The FBI initiated a comprehensive investigation to determine whether these observations were potential enemy reconnaissance activity. As a result of the investigation, no connection could be established between the observations and any known Soviet aircraft or espionage operations. However, FBI reports emphasized that such incidents frequently recurred around nuclear facilities and should be taken seriously. These documents were released to the public in 1976 under the Freedom of Information Act. Throughout 1952, an intense wave of observations occurred around Los Alamos National Laboratory. Laboratory security reports show that a total of 35 separate incidents were recorded. Most incidents occurred during nighttime hours, above or near the laboratory's sensitive areas. April 25, 1952, 22:30 hours. The laboratory's security team saw a very bright greenish light in the laboratory's southwest sector. The light was moving rapidly on the horizontal axis and making sudden directional changes. Observation duration was recorded as approximately 8 minutes. May 2nd, 1952, 03:15 hours. This time, 3 red lights were observed in the laboratory's northern section. The lights were moving in a triangular formation at low speed. Security personnel directed their vehicles toward the area to track the lights, but the lights rapidly ascended and left the field of vision. The frequency of these incidents attracted Air Force intelligence attention, and a special observation team was assigned to Los Alamos. The team installed cameras and radar systems around the laboratory. Team reports indicate that observations continued, but the origin or purpose of the objects could not be determined. These incidents became a significant source of concern within the US intelligence community during the Cold War era. After 1967, observation reports over nuclear facilities began to decline, but did not stop completely. In the 1980s, similar incidents were recorded at NATO nuclear bases, particularly in Europe. Security records at bases in Belgium, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom document unknown aircraft being observed above nuclear storage areas. Some of these incidents were not disclosed to the public for years due to NATO's secrecy protocols. In the 1990s, some European countries began releasing UFO documents from their archives to the public, and these documents included incursions directed at nuclear facilities. A common characteristic of the documents is that most incidents occurred during nighttime hours, under low visibility conditions and near sensitive military areas. Additionally, in none of the incidents did the observed objects display aggressive behavior, though their presence triggered the facility's security protocols. Official reports and declassified documents show that these observation incidents over nuclear facilities constituted a significant security concern for the US and its allies during the Cold War period. Although the source, purpose, or nature of the incidents could not be fully understood, the recurrence and documentation of these observations reveal that military and intelligence institutions approached the subject with serious attention. Today, thousands of pages of documents stored in archives present detailed records of these incidents and create a rich database for future researchers.